Welcome to International Securities Exchange's podcast series. Facilitated by renowned educators, ISE podcasts are intended to teach beginning as well as seasoned investors the ins and outs of trading. To find an updated list of podcasts, please visit www.ise.com/podcasts.
And what's the hardest thing for your students? You know, if somebody's I know brand new, you probably want them to maybe read a book or understand options, come to a couple OIC seminars, but after that, let's say that somebody's maybe failed at options or their portfolio, they understand the equity markets or whatever markets, but they haven't traded a lot of options. What are you trying to find in an investor that would make them an ideal student?
Well, I mean, to be an ideal student, yeah, for sure. I mean, I like people to kind of have the basics. I mean, if you've traded, maybe bought some calls or bought some puts before, okay, that's all right. You've experienced it. You probably still have a ton of questions. But, really, I mean, the ideal student is a student that sort of approaches it with sort of the right mindset. Every once in a while somebody will come to me and, I can tell by talking to them that what they want me to do is they want me to, tell them the next hot stock tip so that they can get rich on making one trade. That's just not how it works. Trading it can be a business, obviously. I mean, that's what it was for you and me, at one point, Steve. But it can also be a rewarding hobby. I mean, you don't have to work at it full time, but you have to enjoy it, and you have to sort of look at it as a challenge and look at it as, I think it's healthy to even look at it as maybe sort of a game where you strive to intellectually, sort of beat the markets. And the only way to do that is to get edge on trades and to, in the long run, make more than you lose. And look at it as a system of trades. And it doesn't have to be, 100 trades a day. It could be a couple of trades a month, but you're looking at it in the long term. At the end of the year, this trading strategy that I have is going to pay off because I'm doing smart things, and that's a healthy attitude to strive to do that. And those are the students that, A, I enjoy teaching the most because they have the best chance of being successful, and B, they're certainly more likely to be successful.
That makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. Going back to your other point, and I get this when I'm teaching the OIC seminars, that there are a lot of folks that think that all of us can go and find the next great company and just invest, your whole portfolio into a certain stock, and that's, I know there's a lot of glamour books written about that. That's, like you said, it's highly improbable that we're going to find that, and it's, that's probably not how we're going to be successful. We need to work hard, and whether it's, for most of it, it's learning the risks in your portfolio and then using options in the proper way. So, because options allow you to create all kinds of different payoffs, but you need to understand the basic tenets of options, and if you don't understand that, then it's a real challenge. And that's why Dan, he has these skills that he can help all of you do that. If you're looking for someone that could help you, please reach out to Dan. Let me show you where you can go. Again, it's markettaker.com, or go to dan@markettaker.com. Send him an email, either way. And just say that you're here at the ISC webinar, and hopefully you'll have a meeting of the minds, and you guys will be working together. So I'm getting some nice comments that we should have another session. So, Dan, what do you think? How about coming back, maybe the Greeks or anything else you'd like to talk about? Well, we could talk about it later, but I'd love for you to come back. I'm sure the comments will be great. Campaign calendars, that's what Andrew wants you to talk about. He's got a great sense of humor. But Dan, what I'd like to do now is give you the opportunity to just make a closing comment about your business and about options in general.
Sure. I mean, I think, and this is my personal opinion, I think that options are the best vehicle out there to trade. And, not best to say that, if you trade options, you're definitely going to make more money than somebody who doesn't trade options. That's not what I'm getting at. I'm kind of touching on what you just said a second ago, Steve, is that, they're versatile. I mean, these calendar spreads that we just looked at, in the long calendar, I make money if the underlying currency doesn't move. With the short calendar, I make money if it makes a big move in either direction. I mean, you can't do that if you're just trading, the spot currency or a future or a stock. You can't do that. They're very, very versatile, and they're intellectually stimulating. I mean, it's kind of another reason that I like them. I mean, they're fun. They're always a challenge, and, sometimes they're hard and frustrating, and sometimes they can be really, really rewarding. And it's like anything. The more effort that you put into it, the more that you can get out of it, both in terms of financial reward and also kind of personal fulfillment. So, I kind of like to, keep my students moving forward and learning more and give them the tools that they need. And my goal is that at the end of the program, you don't need me nearly as much anymore. You're on your own at the end of our time together, but you can always contact me. You're sort of always an alumnus of Market Taker Mentoring. But in that 9 weeks, you learn as much as you can, as much as your brain will allow. I put in the time to teach as much as I can during that period. And, between the mentoring sessions and the webinars that you have access to and all the other really useful content that's on my website and everything else that you get when you sign up, including a copy of my book, I think that it's the best way to learn.
That's a great point, Dan. I want to thank you for, I know you spent a lot of time building this presentation, and you did a great job in dispelling a couple of myths. Number one, that you can only buy a calendar, which is of course untrue. We had some comments that there are margin considerations selling the calendar, and Dan knows that, as Dan was a market maker, as I was for many years. So it's a different margin configuration if you sell the calendars. But if you have enough capital, and a lot of you do, and you're in the right broker, that might not be an issue. So, Dan pointed out, buying a calendar, selling a calendar, not really. It might not be an issue for a lot of you. You need to understand the risk-reward of both. So, Dan, I want to thank you again on behalf of the ISC. You did a great job, and love for you to come back sometime in the future. We'll talk about a different subject. Maybe Andrew had some comments, maybe diagonals, and I didn't even know that the campaign calendar, somebody else calls it that, is month-to-month calendar, whatever. I actually make jokes about a lot of the things I don't even know the names of some of these things because everybody else calls them something differently. So would love for you to come back and you and I will discuss the most pertinent topic. You up for it?
Yeah, that sounds fantastic. Anytime.
Well, thank you so much. Really appreciate it, Dan. Just remember that you can catch this presentation again at www.isc.com/archives. So you can listen to the presentation. Again, you might want to go to markettaker.com and get some more information about Dan Passarelli. And we, if you have a meeting of the minds, then that's great. Dan will be back sometime in the future to talk more about options. Sounds like a plan, Dan?
Sounds great, Steve. Thanks again.
Thanks again. On the behalf of the IAC, I want to remind everyone, first I want to thank you for all being here. Second, I just want to remind everyone that we have another webinar on Thursday. Jack Crooks will be talking about global currency flows, and that's, of course, this upcoming Thursday. Steve Mizik will be from the Online Trading Academy will be with us on October 27th. Partidley talking about trends, since he is with Big Trends. That'll be on November 3rd. So I want to, again, thank everyone for joining us, and please come back real soon. On behalf of the ISC, this is Steve Meisinger saying have a great evening. Good night, everyone.
Thank you for listening to our podcast. To find more podcasts on options, stocks, alternative markets, and market data, please visit www.isc.com/podcasts.